Mayor Recupero,
Present.
Mr. Alexander.
Here.
Mr. Pitch is on vacation. He will not be joining us this evening, and I am also present.
Okay. We'll hear registered comments from the public at this time. Limit your comments to 3 minutes, please.
We have two. One's on the agenda, Rhoda, and then Tim Long requested. He didn't make the agenda, but he's requested.
Right.
So we'll start with Rhoda. Go ahead, Rhoda. You're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
My name is Rhoda Wharf. I live at 636 3rd Street. I'm hoping that the members of council and Jerry had time to read the linked articles I sent. In regard to the situation, we seem to be dwelling only on the hanging baskets. Let's go back several years. Most of you sitting on council have no concept of what was involved with a program called Allegheny Together Streetscape Project and the force behind it. A committee was formed that took time, planning, research, and enthusiasm that took many years raising the bar for Verona. We attended monthly meetings for many years. This was a grand investment for Verona. Every aspect of the program played an integral part in the beautification and transformation of our community. The main theme of this program stressed vertical architecture. The program stressed improvements via strategic beautification projects in the main business district of Verona as a way to attract new businesses. Examples of these improvements were the sidewalks, planters, bike racks, refuse containers, the pavilion, and the street lights that were designed with posts for flags and hanging flower baskets. Since the completion of Allegheny Together program, take heed of the improvements it has created and the new businesses it has attracted, all of which gives Verona a new vibrancy. Examples: GetGo, Senge, Inner Groove, Stonewall, recently Bon Air, Oakmont Barbecue, Mechanics Coffee, Pittsburgh Pickle, Acclamation, and the Western Pennsylvania Center for the Arts. Now these and other businesses not mentioned came and located in Verona after Allegheny Together's revitalization program. Not because of the old Verona, but because of the new and vibrant Verona. They saw that Verona had a new vision, a vision that is inviting to businesses. Let's not forget the importance of this transition. I implore council and the citizens of the borough embrace and nurture Verona's new vision. This is the key to our town's survival. There is a definite connection between beautification and economic growth. It shapes the demographics of the town and its neighborhood. It opens the doors for new families to move to Verona. It encourages family-oriented amenities. To mention just a few, improvements in and the use of our beautiful parks. There's yoga in the park, concerts in the park, fairs such as community days, movies in the park, farmers market, and all the wonderful sports-oriented activities that take place at Cribbs Field. All of these are examples just mentioned, emphasize the importance of beautification, making Verona a desirable destination. With all this being said, I must emphasize the wonderful job the streets crew is doing in keeping the hanging flower baskets along ARB well watered, and fertilized. I am requesting the council's consideration, just this time, to transfer some of the monies earmarked in the budget for the newsletter to be used to pay the streets crew for the second watering of the hanging baskets. This money can be replaced in next year's 2021 newsletter budget. Please note, the collection of advertisement monies have sufficiently paid for the publication and postage of the newsletters. Most importantly, it must be noted that over the years, the budgeted money for the newsletter has never needed to be used. I want to thank you for your time and consideration, and I'm hoping that this information will persuade the council's decision to make these requested, and let me emphasize, short-term changes. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhoda. Okay. Tim Long?
Yeah, hold on. I'm getting there. Tim, you're muted. Go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, Tim Long, 323 Penn Street. I feel there's a lack of communication between the council, the borough manager, the public works, and the public. I know that RA and I have brought up many concerns that have not been addressed. I will not speculate on what the problem is, but here are a few solutions. I believe AJ, being the foreman of the public works, should have to give a report what they have done each month. AJ should also attend the business meetings to hear what the public is saying is wrong with the town. And there should also be a maintenance schedule posted online for the public to see, i.e. cutting the grass, painting the lines, etc., of what's going on in our town. I also believe we need to have a better line of communication for the public to let the council and the borough manager know what they are seeing as problems in the town and get a response as fast as possible. I know personally that things that I have brought up have not been addressed and have gone unanswered. With a little work, we can make and keep our town in top shape and attract more people. Yeah, I've sent many correspondence. I sent an email out Saturday and I got no response from anybody, and I sent it to everybody. None of you guys responded to it. I've brought up the garbage can up at Cribs. It's broken. It's been broken for a month and a half. Nothing has been done. That's fine. I mean, we just need to keep the town in top shape. We need to fix the problems when they arise. That's all I have to say right now.
Thank you. Okay. Reports or and correspondence, Jerry.
All right. So everybody was distributed meeting minutes after the last meeting. We would need a motion to pass the meeting minutes from the July business meeting.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion. Are there any questions? Being no questions, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any no's? No. Motion passed.
Everybody was distributed last week. The financial reports, one being the bills payable and check distribution list. I would need a motion to pay the bills.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
First by Mr. Forback, second by Mr. Suchovich. Are there any questions? No questions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No no's. Motion passed.
For the tax collector and special taxes report for the month of July, we received $44,589.70 in real estate taxes for the current year. $4,113.22 in real estate taxes that are delinquent. $914.83 in real estate transfer taxes, $11,413.59 in earned income taxes for the current year, and $3,259.35 in local service taxes for the current year. So we need a motion to,
Need a motion to accept
motion to
the
accept the
tax
report.
collector's special tax report.
I'll make that motion.
Mr.
I'll second.
Suchovitz, that's first. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Alba. Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any noes? No noes, motion passed.
for the treasurer's report for the month of July, we began the month with $460,570.74 in the general fund. We received $75,029.87 in deposits, spent $196,100.62 in expenses for an ending balance in the general fund of $339,499.99.
We need a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll make that motion.
First by Mr. Suchovitz. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Forback. Are there any questions? No questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Are there any noes? No noes, motion passed.
Pat,
Yes.
whenever it's time for Matt's thing, he obviously isn't here to give it. It's on the agenda, the full detail, but I will be asking for a motion. So just to give you a heads up, I'll do that during Matt's part.
You're going to take care of Matt's part.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Police Chief's Ordinance Officer's report.
Evening.
Good evening, Chief.
We had 117 complaints, 22 crimes reported, 20 cleared, 11 arrests, 9 crimes code summaries issued, 6 vehicle code summaries issued, 27 borough code summaries issued. There are also 140 borough parking tickets issued. Our revenue sources and magistrates' fines collected was $335.45. Borough's fines and fees collected was $785. $15 in police reports purchased. Municipal fines is $5.33. Total fines and fees collected was $1,140.78. And then also another $250 in parking permit fees. The only other thing I want to bring up tonight, I can't say Carolyn's last name. I think it's Sparrows Car. She lives at 523 North. She's requested a handicap parking permit or parking space up by her house. It's 523 North. She's done the paperwork. She has the license plate. She just brought this into the office today, or I would have passed it on. Just wanted to bring that up.
I have no objections. Dave?
I don't have no objections. No.
Okay.
What was the address, Chief?
523 North.
All right, I'll get with AJ and Mar.
Okay.
Do
That's
we
all I
need the
have.
motion out or anything?
Do we have to vote on that?
Yeah, we're going to vote on the handicap.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll include that with the chief's report. I need a motion to accept the chief's report and the handicap sticker.
I'll make that motion.
First by Mr. Suchovitz. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Alba. Are there any questions? No questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any noes? No noes, motion passed.
Who knows?
Verona Fire Chief's report.
We had 12 fire calls. 12 calls for the month of July. Some of them were structure fires, some were river rescues. And that's it. We had 12 calls.
Okay. I need a motion to accept the Fire Chief's report. I'll make that motion to accept the Fire Chief's report. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Forback. Are there any questions? No questions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any noes? No no's. Motion passed. EMS report. I don't have one. I don't think one was sent.
Yeah, Jamie's here.
Oh, is Jamie here? Okay.
Yes, sir. Hold on, give me a second.
That's all right.
Jamie, go ahead, Jamie.
Hear me now?
Yes, sir.
For the month of July, we had a total of 38 calls, 13 advanced life support calls, 10 basic life support calls, 1 false call, 4 patient refusals, 5 patient lift assist, 1 no patient, 3 cancellations.
Okay, Jamie, thank you. I need a motion to accept EMS report.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Suchovich. Are there any questions? No questions? All those in favor to accept the report, say aye.
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 Any noes? No noes. Motion passed. Thanks, Jamie. Okay, Mayor.
Just a few things. The police committee did an interview a couple weeks ago on hiring a part-time officer, and he was hired by the board, and I thank you for that. His name is Officer Brian Bradford, and he will be working part-time. And I just wanted to bring that up, that he was hired and he is sworn in. And he's out on patrol with the chief and then the other 2 officers, the 2 sergeants, so, also train them. The other thing I have is tree cutting. Did we look into what we're going to do with the trees, Jerry?
Yeah, I think Dave's actually going to talk about it during his time, that we're working through the legalities of it with Craig and coming up with the list and what we're going to do and how that's going to be handled. But I did get one of the lots that was in question was up on 3rd and Church, and we have that one being taken care of right now. So, but Dave's working on some other stuff.
I got one last thing. The work that Oakmont Water done on Diamond Way and Center Avenue and South and James Street. It's in need of being repaired back. And I understand they're going to pave it, but I talked to Matt last week, and he was meeting with Oakmont Water, discuss the paving, and did see what I was talking about, and so did the gentleman there, but it still hasn't been done yet. And actually, in front of the Eagles there, where the shut-off are, where they dug up, it's actually starting to get the ground settling, and you could actually see holes that are forming. And over by the other end, Eilers there, it's real bad as you turn onto the alley, and even going down the alley, it needs stone filled in there. So I'm asking Jerry to call them tomorrow and see what their plans are about temporarily fixing these spots before somebody damages their cars, and it's been noted that they were told about it. That's all I have.
My understanding, I had already spoken with them, and my understanding was that they were going to be cold patching it and or filling it with stone to bring it back up to level until the full repair is done. So I'll touch base and remind them that it needs done. So
I understand it's bad.
ASAP.
I understand it's bad. Just a question. If it's that bad, do we consider closing the alley, Diamond Alley?
But you got Center Avenue in front of Dave's, which is really bad, where the shutoff valves are. Can't close that. At the other end by the Eagles, it's in the middle of the road. You actually
I'm
got.
talking about Diamond Alley itself, where they did all the connections to every building.
I didn't hear you.
I'm talking where they went straight down Diamond Way, and they did all the connections, the new connections to the buildings, all the buildings. Until they get in there, if it's that bad, do we want to consider shutting Diamond Way down? Can we do that?
We got businesses back there that get orders, Dirty Harry's and what have you. So all they need to do is fill it with stone. That's all I'm asking.
Okay, I'm just asking.
You know, they need.
Anything else, Dave?
That's basically all. No, that's it.
Okay. I was going to bring that up, but you brought it up Diamond Way because I know that some people have asked about it and things. I do notice that the Water Authority's been doing a lot of digging down here in Lower Verona, but they have been paving in all the areas, and they've been very good about it, which in the past they haven't, but they have been doing a good job down here on it. So,
I was down there today. They got almost all of them taken care of now.
yeah.
Not other than Diamond Way and a couple other ones, but most
No.
of Lower Verona's taken care of.
Well, Diamond Way was a big project because
Oh,
it was
yeah.
the whole alley.
They're
So,
contracting that out.
got it. So you got to wait till it settles, I'm sure. Okay. Jerry, you're up with Mr. Pitches.
So on the agenda is all the detail from his report, so I'm not going to just read it to everybody because everybody can read. However, we do need a motion for the very first thing, PA Small Water and Sewer Grant. The bids were open, and Situform Technologies was the low bidder at $74,961. The revised local share is $11,244.15, and the grant is $63,716.85. So we would need a motion to award the contract to Instituform Technologies.
Okay, I need a motion to accept Stitchiform's bid.
I'll make that motion.
Dr. Carpenter made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Provenza. Are there any questions?
I have one because I don't have my agenda in front of me. What was this project for, Jerry? I'm sorry.
You know what? I don't remember which one this was, to be honest with you. I'll send an email out. It's a sewer lining project. I'm just not sure what area we're doing it.
Okay.
I believe it may have been First Street.
Yeah, I think so too. We put together grants on a handful of them, so I'm not sure which one this one is.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any noes? No noes. Motion passed. Is that all from Mr. Pitch?
Yeah, everything else is in the report. I'll just let
In
everybody
his
review it.
report. Okay.
Yep.
Mr. Alexander.
Thank you, Mr. President. A few things to speak on. We did hold an executive session immediately prior to this evening's meeting to discuss personnel issues, legal issues, and emergency disaster declaration issues. We've been working on a number of ordinances. There are a couple that Nancy has on her report that we can talk about in a little bit. We have been receiving a bunch of comments on those ordinances, and I think it's proper to take those comments back to the committee and bring back an updated draft. But we can go into that with Nancy's report. We did have our code committee meeting, ordinance committee meeting on the fourth Monday of the month last month, and we'll do so again this next month. Other than that, I don't have anything additional to report on.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, one more thing.
Go ahead.
Going into what Dave said, the tree cutting and whatnot. Dave Matlin did reach out to me on that as well. So I think Jerry referenced. I'm going to be getting together with Dave, but he'll report on that issue as well.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Matlin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just have a few quick updates on public works items. The public works crew has been busy with watering the baskets as they were asked to do. I know they've been very diligent about that, and the business district is looking good. They also have painted the curbs as was requested a while back. Those are looking pretty good in the business district, and the cupola on top of the borough building, as well as some roof patching. It's looking a lot better. Rhoda had pointed out a while back, it was chipping paint, and I think it looks a lot nicer now. So I just want to thank those guys for the stuff. They're working through the lists that we've been giving them. I know there's still some outstanding items that I'm sure they'll be able to get to in the near future. We did have a public works meeting last week about to discuss the potential new public works truck. So we were reviewing the quotes. We're still reviewing that. Jerry, I don't know if you have any further updates since our meeting.
I don't.
Okay.
I'm still working on getting those quotes back, and I'll have more for you sooner, and then we'll probably make a motion at the next meeting to make a decision.
Okay. The other thing, as was mentioned, is the tree trimming that the mayor brought up and Craig mentioned. We did discuss that. There's various sites that are being looked at for tree trimming. Wildwood Avenue, the newer trees in the business district that have been installed in the last 7 or 8 years, as well as some down on West Railroad between Allegheny and Fairview. And there are some questions over responsibility, legality, who's who needs to be involved, and what the Shade Tree Commission's responsibility is in working through this stuff. So we talked about that at the Public Works meeting, and I'm going to be in touch with Craig here and Jerry shortly to try to iron that out. But it is something we're working on and is in progress. So that's all I have at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Carpenter.
Thank you. I wanted to start off by saying on my agenda items here, I said potential motions. So I don't believe we're going to be making motions on either one of these ordinances tonight. There is a lot to consider, and I thank Dave Matlin and Mike for some comments. Dave, especially, you really put a lot of thought into your comments, and the solicitor and I are going to take those comments back to the committee and work on some revisions. But as it has to do with the animal control, Mr. Stanton is the one who was our code enforcer, who was interested in having us come up with something for specific situations. And Mark, I see you're on here. Okay. And I wonder if you would please clarify for everybody specifically what you are, concerned about and why we started this process with the animal control ordinance.
Okay, there was a pretty severe problem at the Gatus property, which is the house you recently tore down. It's in the 500 block of, I think, of East Railroad. Someone had been feeding stray cats there, and it was really driving the neighbors crazy. And in an intervening period, I think in the past, maybe one of these groups came in and tried to control the population, but the problem continued. And after the house was torn down, a lady from Penn Hills was coming over and feeding these cats, and much to the dismay of the neighbors. And so they came and complained to me about it, and I talked to Jerry and counsel, and the solicitor wrote her a letter that she was not to do this anymore, and she continued to do it till one of the neighbors apparently pretty forcefully told her not to come back. So she sent a gentleman down, and he was doing it, and he encountered another of the neighbors, and I'm sure there were words exchanged. But there's also someone going up feeding them at Casabella. And the chief has mentioned the problem with feeding the Canada geese, which has encouraged them to come up into the park. And I know in the past, and it's common in other communities, this problem, especially with the cats, because they end up going onto people's porches and defecating and going into gardens and such. So there are a couple ordinances that are in the book. The one we have on cats, it says that the boroughs to issue licenses for cats and people to register their litters of kittens. I guess at one time there was a call for that. But I think we really need something that says you can't come in and feed stray animals. For one thing, someone's liable to come in and put poison out. You just don't know today. I just think it's not the proper way to handle things. And if we get the cat problem, there's a group we can bring in that will they round up the cats and neuter them and mark them, and then they release them, so no cats are killed as a result of it. But eventually, their population would dwindle down, and the ordinance recognizes that. But we do get the complaints around town about this, and it would be the best way to handle it. And even there's some people been feeding deer, and I know the deer are pretty and everything like that, but then they come in and they start eating the foliage that people plant around their homes. If you go to Fox Chapel, you'll see some of the properties, they have to put netting over all their bushes to keep them from getting eaten. So that was the request, that we could put a stop to feeding of wild animals.
So my issue with the feeding of, the way it's written now, it looks like to me that this would make a bird feeder in my backyard illegal. So I don't know if that's the route we want to go.
Well,
and we might
just
need to, and I'm not saying to throw this out altogether. I'm just saying maybe we should take a look at revising it.
Well, in talking to the pest control expert, one of the major problems for the rats is bird feeders. And no, I can't imagine we would be going around and bothering people that got a simple bird feeder in their yard. But we had the rat problem in the alley behind Union, and I took notices around to the various houses. One of them, older house, has a good sized front porch, and they have the whole porch floor covered with bird seed, that you put out for birds. And again, I don't think someone with a bird feeder in their yard is not going to be the issue. But I think you did have a problem with when the prior code officer was in, of somebody up on First had put a feeder out at the street, and it was causing issues for the neighbors there. So I think the tone of enforcement you can set. We don't, like I said, we don't need to go and bother somebody's got their little bird feeder in their yard. But I think where we find, like the house on Union, that has their whole front porch covered with bird seed. And again, the pest guy that assisted us in looking for these rat holes said that's actually one of the worst attractants for rats, is bird seed that's left out on the ground.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm hoping that the ordinance committee can maybe look at this again and come up with a creative way to maybe allow people to have bird feeders. I think even if it's not going to be enforced, I kind of have an issue of putting an ordinance on the books that makes something as common as a bird feeder illegal. But
well, that could be taken out of there, that's all.
Yeah.
You don't have to scrap the whole ordinance.
No, and I'm not saying to scrap the whole thing. The other issue is I wondered whether we could just revise the existing ordinance that we have on animal control, since that seems to be a bit outdated, and there seems to be some overlap between this new one and the existing one. And then the other main thing, Mark did mention what's commonly referred to as trap, neuter, and return, where the cats are trapped. This is feral cats trapped and neutered and returned back to their location. And I think the ordinance doesn't clearly delineate between stray and feral, because there is a distinct difference between stray and feral cats. So I think regarding that, and as well as regarding TNR, I think there's some good outlines and information out there from various humane and animal organizations that have guidance on how to do this to encourage the TNR from animal groups that would, like Mark mentioned, would help reduce the population of feral cats in the long run. And I think the long game is what we should look to do here. So I think making the TNR easy and accessible and not too burdensome is one of my suggestions. So that's all I had really in a nutshell about the animal control ordinance.
Yeah, Mark, would you also please expand on your recent experience with the rats problem that's going on around town?
Yeah, apparently, whether part of it's the weather, the rat problem has become quite severe. In all the years I've been around Verona, I have never heard complaints of rats like I'm getting now. The first problem we had was on First between North and Parker. And we went up, we actually ended up getting search warrants for some of the properties. And we had a pest control expert with us. I then got complaints, and these are rats being seen in the daytime, which is really unusual. Down in that alley behind Union, below, and also behind like Patsy's, but kind of farther down. And one of the residents noted that a certain resident had a big pile of garbage, and I think I sent you pictures, and the rats were actually nested in a sofa that was sitting out at the rear of the property. So I took notices, because actually there were a lot of properties that had some refuse behind them. And I took notices to all of them and warned them about the rats. Now, last Friday, I got a call at like 3:30 that rats were seen in the daytime on North Street, across and up from Sylvia's. And I think one gentleman disposed of 2 of them, but they were coming from a certain property, and I sent that property a certified letter Friday directing them to have a pest control company check the property and certify it or bait it. But part of the problem is that the rats have too many easy places to nest. And a lot of the properties have in the rear, and this isn't that unusual, little piles of debris, like they couldn't get rid of some cement blocks or chunks of concrete or some old wood, because typically the garbage collectors don't take that. And it's actually a very common problem. It's common in the older towns with alleys. And we've had this battle with the weeds. And that's part of the problem, because where the weeds are, you can't really see the burrows where the rats are tunneling in. We've had rats on Second down there in that block past South going towards Wildwood. Like I said, I've never in all the years heard this many complaints of rats in Verona, but apparently they're big rats too. They're not like little cute ones. So I think I've tried to get a hold of the county. I've had no luck, I think, because they're so busy with the COVID. They used to have what they called a vector program. And so I was hoping if we could get some money to do some baiting by the borough or on behalf of the borough in some of these places. But it's definitely a problem.
Doesn't the county health department have, I mean, that's the one that had the vector programs.
Right.
I mean,
But I've left 2 messages, and like I said, I suspect they've got everybody kind of busy with this COVID. And so some of the other routine stuff has maybe had to been put aside. I've had some luck getting some properties cleaned up there on First. that have been problems. But again, there's like no end to this. And if you really, and I always say this, any town, drive through the alleys and you'll find the sins. And you see so many properties are well kept, but in the back, along the alley, you've got these weeds and you got the little piles of debris. And this is where like a spring and fall cleanup would be good. So people could get rid of some of this stuff without a problem. That and the weeds, they all go together.
So, thanks, Mark. As it has to do with the with this ordinance with the animal, I think that there is a distinction to be made between outdoor cats that are kept and maintained by people who are responsible cat owners that just happen to have cats outdoors, and cats that are not kept and maintained by anybody. But I thought at one point, Mark, you mentioned, or somebody mentioned something about if you keep feeding the cats that are not owned by anybody or kept by anybody, then they won't go after the rodents. And so there's this natural process that happens that the cats who are just independent cats wandering around can go get their food and help take care of the rodent population.
Yeah, that's definitely true. That if you feed them, they weren't going to starve anyway. They would find the rodents and stuff, and it actually helps control that. But it's the same as like where bears have started coming in, and they found out they can eat out of dumpsters and stuff. And part of the thing with the rats, and I don't think it's so much in Verona, but in a lot of places with the restaurants business being way down, the rats are become more visible because they don't have their normal feeding sources in the dumpsters like when the restaurants are going full tilt.
Well, I don't know the solution. I think that we've gotten some helpful comments. If anybody else here or in the audience has comments about either one of the short-term rental ordinance or animal control, I'm very open to hearing them, but I'm not trying to, I personally really didn't start having this on my radar. This came from our code enforcement officer, and it needs some revisions, but it's not, I don't think it's my purpose or the ordinance committee's purpose or Mr. Stanton's purpose to worry about the responsibly kept cats. And I think there is some wording in the ordinance to that topic. Right, Mark? People have outdoor cats. That's just the way it is.
Right.
They feed their cats outdoors, but they're their cats and they're well kept, and they provide shelter in the winter, but it's outdoors, whatever they do. This is not what this animal control ordinance is about or why it was initiated. So I just wanted to be clear about that.
I believe Craig wrote the ordinance, I thought, for Plum Borough in response to the problems they had.
I did. And it was tailored to the way they wanted it done. It's been revised a few times, I think, and I think they have enacted it. But, every community has different needs.
Yes. So I would like anybody else here on council or during public comment to say their thoughts about short-term rental or animal control potential ordinances, and we will take all of those comments back into committee and work on it some more. I would like to also mention that the Planning Commission is having a meeting on Thursday to discuss combining some property on Penn Street in the 500 block. And that's at Thursday at 7 p.m. I guess it's going to be held in the council chambers with proper social distancing, sanitation, and wearing of masks. It's not expected that there'll be very many people there. But the other thing that came to my attention when learning about the meeting was the fact that now there are 2 vacancies on the Planning Commission. So I just wanted to say that out loud here at the meeting so that everybody who's attending knows that there are openings for that, and we will find a way to advertise that out to the community for anybody who might be interested in that. Next, I would just like to mention for everyone's consideration that I can understand that in the summer, you know, in the past, we have not had workshop meetings for July and August and sometimes June. But this year, if you recall, we did not have a workshop in March because of the virus. And I think that the last motion that was made last month was to not have a workshop in September. And I don't think that that is a good idea. I just don't agree with not having a workshop once the fall has started. I think we'll have a lot to discuss. So I'd like to make a motion that we reinstitute having the September workshop and continue to not have the one in August.
There's a motion on the floor to, by Dr. Carpenter to not have, to have a September workshop meeting. All those in, is there any question? She has a, she have a second.
Second.
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Matlin. Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those, are there any no's? There's people
We need a roll
muted.
call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some
Roll call.
people are muted. Can't hear
All right, we'll do a
everybody.
roll call.
Take Sylvia off mute.
Sylvia, there you
I
go.
turned her off. All right, everybody unmuted. Okay, I'm going to do a roll call. Dr. Carpenter,
Yes, I would like to have a September workshop.
Mr. Matlin,
Yes.
Mr. Forbeck,
Yes.
Mr. Sudovich,
No.
Ms. Provenza,
Yes.
President McCarthy,
No.
Ms. Loalba.
Yes.
It's 5-2.
Okay. There'll be a September workshop meeting.
All right, wonderful, thank you. And the last thing I'd like to address is Mrs. Worf's presentation and their offer to transfer some of the money from the newsletter account, which stands at, if I recall, although I just couldn't find it when I was looking for it, it has $6,000 in the budget. What I'm not sure about is my understanding is now when Mrs. Provenza goes around and gets the ad money, that money all goes to the borough. And then when the bill comes due to pay for printing of it and sending it out to everybody, that comes from the borough. Not really sure this year whether there's been any money taken out of the budget from the newsletter or not, or whether the newsletter committee has been holding their own, whether they're making a profit and giving that into the borough in the general fund, or how that's working. So I would, that information would be helpful, but I don't think that it's critical to my making a motion to transfer the necessary money that's needed to water the baskets by the crew until the end of the season, which may well go into October. Whatever that amount of money would be up to, I don't know. Someone from the newsletter committee would have to tell me. Sylvia, I don't know if you know. 2,000, 2,500. I don't know how much we need from the newsletter. And if the newsletter committee has a ceiling over which they don't want to go.
Sylvia, you're muted again. You have to unmute yourself.
Can't hear you, Sylvia.
I'm not touching
Okay.
it. Okay, I'm not
Okay.
touching it. I don't know why it's muted. Anyhow, I am currently working with this quarter of newsletter, and so far the ads are coming in very slowly, but I'm not through yet. So I have a very strong feeling that I will again be able to cover the expense with getting the ads. And we have not had to touch anything to this point. I have been very diligent to get all the ads, and we just do it without touching any of the money, the 6,000 that's allotted every year.
So I know there's a motion on the floor. I just am not sure how much to say or whether I can make the motion say whatever is needed for them to water to the end of the season. And if the newsletter committee is okay with that.
Would it be helpful if the,
Angela has her hand up. She might be able to answer that question.
Are we taking comment from the public right now?
Well, it's just, no, it's not a comment. I don't know what to ask for.
Here's a simple solution, I think. Okay? The boroughs will continue paying this. And at the end, we'll have to figure out whether or not the money is needed.
Okay.
And then we make a motion then to transfer it.
Okay, so I'm very happy to rescind this motion. And I just want to be clear that the guys are not going to stop watering when we get to $6,500 that we agreed upon in the winter. They're going to
I'll
keep
make a
going.
suggestion.
We will continue to water them.
Thank
My
you.
question is, I have a question. Can the
Go ahead,
finance
Ray.
committee get with Mr. Kenna and see how much money we have totally invested in this and come up with numbers then?
Well, he needs to work on that and he'll get that out to us
Yeah.
this next
And
week.
that way we can say, well, we already said we're gonna give them whatever, 6,500. We might need 1,500 to finish it out. Go to them then. But if we're just gonna say, well, let the borough pay the whole thing and then go with the heck with it, we can't do that either.
Well,
No,
this is coming directly out of the newsletter.
I understand that. I'm just saying, let's find out from Jerry what the total cost is gonna be or what we have already allocated out and go from there.
Okay, well, that sounds good. I just wanted to get a reassurance because at the last meeting, there was some discussion about stopping watering. And we put a lot of time and effort and money into having those baskets. And as Mrs. Worf pointed out, we got the light poles specifically to hang baskets on. So I didn't want them to just only water till like the middle of September and then stop.
We did not plan on what happened. Nobody sees down the road. Nobody has a crystal ball. We did not know there would be a COVID virus. We had plans of having fundraisers. We don't like to ask the borough for anything unless it's really dire need. The reason we couldn't do any fundraising was because of the virus, or we wouldn't be in this predicament now. This was totally unbeknown to us. We did try with the Eagles early on. We had asked if we could do a fundraiser there, and we were refused. So then we moved forward, and we were going to do something on our own. But as I say, with the virus, we had, our hands were tied. There was absolutely nothing we could do of any sort of fundraiser. But since I have never, and I mean never, touched that 6,000, which is given every year, I don't think it's wrong to ask for the money out of that 6,000.
I don't think anybody's questioning that, Sylvia.
I just think the fact is we
we're
don't know what
questioning
it is.
how much we need.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
no, I'm just
Right.
explaining why we're in this situation. It's
I
not
think we all,
something we
we all
created.
know that. I mean, we all been
We all
dealing with it every
understand
day.
that.
Yeah. So I think these are some good ideas. And as long as they're going to continue to get watered until it freezes or whatever that they say, when we're done with them and have them take them down, then we can work it out after the fact, and that's fine.
Let's get the
Thank you.
numbers together. Let Jerry get the numbers together so we
Yeah.
have a better picture.
Okay, thank you. And I believe that is all I have, except to say that I did look up at our interactive map, and Verona, I think, has done very well when it comes to the virus. We only have 14 positive cases in Verona, and nobody has died in Verona. So I think Verona is doing a very good job at keeping the level of the virus down. So congratulations to everybody about that.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Forback.
Thank you, Mr. President. As the mayor alluded to, and also the chief, I want to, on behalf of the police committee, like to welcome Brian Bradford to the Force of Verona. Glad to have him. On the agenda, I had what I had was the comp plan committee. I would like to council to consider forming a committee of strategic people to pursue the comprehensive plan in Verona, similar to what we did with the recycling committee. I would envision they would be considered somebody from the council, probably me and perhaps another person. A planning commission. I already talked to Dan Gold. He was willing to do that. Somebody from chamber, perhaps somebody from the citizen group, and perhaps another person, a citizen or at large, or somebody to fill the gap that we need to have to pursue this. So that is something I wanted to bring up, and if folks would like to consider perhaps forming that type of committee to pursue the comprehensive plan.
Mr. Alexander, do we need a motion for him to form this committee? You're muted.
I muted myself instead of unmuted myself. Is it just a committee of council members?
No, it's not just council. It'll be planning commission, chamber, the citizen group.
I would do it in the form of a motion.
Mr. Forback, if you would want to make that motion.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to form a comprehensive plan committee comprised of several members, citizens, chamber, planning commission, and perhaps other community group folks to pursue the comprehensive plan avenues to get to the comprehensive plan, including grants and perhaps hiring individuals in the future recommended to council.
I'll second that motion.
Second by Dr. Carpenter. Are there any questions? No questions. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Are there any no's? No. Motion passed. Start working on your comprehensive plan.
I'll bring the folks in. My question is, I guess, really is that whoever is going to be on this committee, that they would go through approval through council. Is that correct? Or should we just, they don't have to since we already did that? Okay.
Well, I'm no expert, but I don't think they have to.
No,
Okay.
You just need to submit who they are.
Okay, fine. That we'll do that. The other issue that I want to bring up, because reminded me today, we talked last time about glass recycling and recycling in Verona, and Jerry, you talked, I think, before about different containers that are available. There are 2 grants that are available. I cannot believe I didn't bring these up before. One of them is dealing with what we did with the recycling committee was the technical assistance grant that's through the Pennsylvania Association of Township Supervisors under the governor's office and DEP. And they provide a $7,500 grant, and that can be applied at any time for really technical assistance to help communities to better their recycling program. And it could include things such as drop-offs. I think the Sea Green, looking at also maybe composting and things like that, just to maybe help us as a community to pursue better the recycling. So I'd like to be able to do a little bit more investigation of that, but maybe we can apply for that, and I can get with Jerry and talk about that too at some point. And the other issue on that line is we have every year gone through the 904 grants for performance. Even though we're a non-mandated community, we could also go for the Pennsylvania 902 grant. Unfortunately, that's not till next year, in March of next year. But that could provide the infrastructure for any recycling that comes out of this technical assistance. As an example, there was a lot of concern about how we had drop-offs before. It was very messy. It was unsightly. There are structures and vehicles and trailers that are dedicated specifically for specific recycle items. And I took a picture of one that was in Armstrong County, and I lost it on my phone, so I'm going to try to get that to Jerry. But that's something that we want to consider too, is go for the 902 grants for that comes off. So I'll do a little more investigation of that and provide counsel with that too. So with that, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Forbeck. Mr. Sucevich.
Talked with Mr. Kenna today. Probably sometime in September, we'll sit down with the finance committee, come up with any budgetary things that we want to talk about and start working on the budget. Because he wants to have that done. Well, he needs to have it done by a certain date. So unless anybody wants to do it sooner, probably sometime in September, we'll get going on that.
Ray, I have a question about the audit.
Well, with vacations and everything, we have not heard back from them as of today. And Jerry, I talked to Jerry today, and he's going to get in contact with them this week and see where it stands. It should be pretty close. So that's
I'll send out
what we
an
have right
update
now.
this week.
He's going to take care of that and getting all that. I talked with him today about that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, that's all.
Okay. Ms. Alba.
I have a little list today. We had our Parks and Rec meeting last Tuesday via Zoom. This coming Friday, August 14th, there'll be another drive-in movie in the park. It'll be done across from Miller's Furniture again in the parking lot. So I'd like to request that we can block the street off between, was it James and South again at 7 p.m. for through traffic, so we can get the cars in their park. Hopefully the weather will cooperate and get a lot of moviegoers. It's a nice night. Toy Story 4.
Janet, before we go on, what time?
Pardon me, Dave?
What time do you want the street blocked off?
I would say 7 o'clock the latest.
All right, we'll do it for 7.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Also, the Girl Scouts, they're having their last meeting. They're going to have it in Railroad Park this Sunday, the 16th, and it's going to be in the evening. They're going to be showing some movies of things that happened throughout the year. They're requesting that the bathrooms in the Borough Building be open during their event there. That's possible.
When is that, Janet?
On Sunday, the 16th.
This Sunday.
Yes. It'll be in the evening.
Does anybody have a problem with that?
No.
For how long? What time? What time do you want it opened, and then we'll get it closed?
I believe they're going to be there till at least 10 o'clock at night. It's in the evening. I don't have their start time right now. I will get that.
Generally, when there's movies, they don't start until it gets dark.
Right.
And right now it's after 8 and it's still fairly light out, so it might be there later than 10 o'clock.
They're going to be following the CDC guidelines and all too. So,
okay.
Janet, text me tomorrow and remind me, and I'll get with the chief and make sure that the police leave the door open.
Thank you. I will do that. Okay, the wrestling event scheduled for the 22nd has been canceled. RAA is actually going to have a 8 and under girls softball tournament that weekend. RAA has requested that if the cribs could be mowed that week, either Wednesday or Thursday before the weekend. So their idea for CDC guidelines is to have the parents spread out in the outfield. So for social distancing, they feel with the bugs, everything will make it more comfortable for those that have to sit out in the grassy area. Let's see, pickleball court. Jeff Pepper has looked into a possible grant to have the pickleball court down at Riverbank resurfaced. Unfortunately, for this year, it was too late. He's going to do a GoFundMe fundraiser to raise funds to resurface and put new lines and everything on the pickleball court. He did get a couple estimates, and the final cost, the estimate to have everything completed is $9,600. He is asking if the borough can donate $1,000 towards the resurfacing project for the pickleball court. I'd like to make a motion. First, he would like to get possibly have the funds by September 21st, and he would like to have it done by this fall. So I am asking council, I'd like to make a motion if we can donate $1,000 towards the resurfacing of the pickleball court down at Riverbank Park.
There's a motion on the floor for a $1,000 donation to help resurface the pickleball court. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Dr. Carpenter. Are there any questions?
I had a question. Is it really a donation, or I mean, is it just part of our funds that's spending that?
It'll be considered a match. We're gonna, the contract is actually gonna go through the borough, I believe. Since it's less than $10,000, we don't really have to deal with the quotes and things like that. We can take their bid. But it's going to be paid for through the borough. They would actually be giving us, if it's $9,600, they're going to give us $8,600, and we would cover the other $1,000.
Okay.
So
Any other questions?
yeah,
Would that be part of the rec account?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, so a couple things. Janet, if I'm remembering correctly, when Jeff wrote that email, he said something to the effect of 9,600, but if we do this and the borough guys do that and they put on the clear coat themselves, that they can knock it down to 6,000.
That won't happen. That can't happen.
Okay. And then my other question is, I've been understanding from people in the know about these kind of things that the basketball court, which is right next to the pickleball court, is also in bad need of repair and repaving. If we were going to have the guys come and do the pickleball, then why not have them do both at the same time? I think it would, in the long run, save money.
We'd have to put it out on a contract because it would be over $10,000 and it would slow down the process.
Would that be different surface?
Yeah, I would think it would be a different surface too.
Well,
Yeah, the
Slightly.
pickleball repair doesn't include any sort of asphalt repair. They're just, believe they're just sealing and painting. When Jeff Pepper came to see me, they're not pouring new asphalt or anything like that. I
Okay.
don't think it's the same.
Oh, so you're saying that for the basketball, they would be actually putting new asphalt down?
I believe that it would require more repair
Yes.
than what they're doing for the pickleball court.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any noes? No noes, motion passed.
Thank you. Another thing, vandalism at cribs. The past month or so, this summer, there's been quite a bit in the bathrooms with broken sinks, broken pipes, the toilets, toilet paper dispensers being knocked off in the bathrooms. If you see something, if you hear something, we're asking neighbors to be vigilant. If you see kids messing around, report it. This is, back to the neighborhood watch type of thing. So maybe we can nip this. You know, right now we're gonna hopefully have some surveillance cameras that can control this. You're being watched. There'll be postings that'll be hung that, you know, with the new pavilion coming shortly, soon we hope, we can't have this continuing. It's another beautification project that's gonna be happening up at Cribs, you know, for the betterment of our community. Once this is done, we need to take pride in it, in our neighborhood, in our at Cribsville too. Right now, the water fountain is broken again, the pipe broke. With the COVID going on, it's been suggested that maybe it's just best that we keep the water fountain shut off for the rest of the summer. And go forth with that. So bring your water bottles when you go to Cribs, bring cooler, things like that. One other thing, the public docks done by the what is the rowing club down there? We are in need of a garbage can. We did, you know, the borough is aware of it. Right now, there are some garbage bags hung on the railing there that leads down to the dock. If I was just hoping maybe AJ or whoever does the trash pickup at Riverbank, if they could swing down by the docks and just pick up the trash bags that people put there, you know, for the collection until we can get the garbage cans put in place. And that can be like a regular pickup when they do their rounds. So it is piling up, but there are people that have been very kind to pick up the garbage, at least put it in a bag and place it there. So if we can have somebody swing by to pick it up, that'd be great.
I have a suggestion about that, Janet, and Jerry, maybe you may be aware of this. There was a garbage can at Riverbank Park right by where Grant turns into Arch, and it got ratty, and so they put one of those old, like cement, the garbage receptacles that we used to have around town, that they saved some of them, and they put one of those there at Riverbank. I'm wondering if there's any more extras of those somewhere where they might be keeping them, that they could use one of those and put it down by the dock.
We're actually ordering the same ones that we have for the rest of the streetscape. One for the dock and one for High Street by the Veterans Wall.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
And I have one more question. The movie screen that was at kind of, what's it called? I'm Railroad Park. Was it damaged? Do we know, was it damaged last year from the high wind?
What's that?
The movie screen that we had used done at the Borough Building for the movies.
Not that I knew of.
That's what I thought too, but someone thought it got damaged, and I was just checking on that. So we can look into that further.
I can check with AJ and see, but I don't remember hearing about anything like that.
Well, don't we need it for the Girl Scouts on Sunday in order to show their movie?
I don't know if we need it. I thought they were getting it, but if we have it, we can get it. I'll check with them to make sure, but yeah. I think they were getting their own screen.
Oh, they were? Okay. I thought at the meeting that, I don't know, it was my understanding that they needed the screen.
I know they requested it, but I think they're getting their own, but I'll check to make sure.
Okay.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wellman. Mrs. Provenza.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. I do have a few items here. We're starting up with our next quarter of the newsletter, and ads and articles are due in on Monday, August 31st. And you can send the articles to Don Wharf, our editor, and his email address is veronanewsroom@gmail.com. And I handle, as Director of Sales and Marketing, I handle all the ads. So you can contact me for an ad. And I want to thank in advance all the businesses and the residents of this community and even surrounding communities that have so faithfully for so many years sent us not only wonderful articles, but ads that have really kept the newsletter going. From the bottom of our hearts, I thank you so very much. And that comes from Dawn Wharf, Angela Capinti, and myself. Thank you very much. You are greatly appreciated. The next item would be the 108th Kennywood Picnic that is coming up on August the 19th, which is next Wednesday. And ticket sales are being done at the Verona Borough garage, outside of the garage. And all you have to do is drive up, give your order, and pay, and you can just keep going. There's no complication to that at all. The prices are going to be, for the all-day ride ticket, it's $29, which is a $10 discount. For senior all-day ride, it's $19, and you have to be at age 55 plus. The tickets are going to be on sale on the following days. They start Friday the 14th from noon till 6 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, which would be the 15th and 16th, the tickets will be on sale from 9 till 3 p.m. And then Monday the 17th and Tuesday the 18th, tickets will be on sale from 9 to 9. And the last day for the tickets will be the day of the Kennywood Picnic, which is Wednesday the 19th, and that'll be from 9 till noon. And I will add, there will be no transportation to or from the park, from Kennywood Park. And that is due to the low demand that we've had in the past. So there will be no transportation. Also, a reminder, which is very important, our school taxes are due Monday, August 31st. That is if you want to still get your 2% discount. After the 31st, it will go to a higher cost. So you want to make sure you get your school tax paid by Monday, August 31st. And this year, you cannot go into the building. You can either drop off your taxes. They have a mail slot there on Delaware Avenue. And if you want a receipt, they're requesting that you put an envelope in there, self-addressed stamped envelope, so they can send you your receipt. The next item would be our farmers market. Please do not forget to support our farmers market. There's a lot of work that goes into that, putting all that together week after week. And the farmers market is on Thursdays from 2 to 7 p.m. And I thank Stephanie Garibay. She does a wonderful job. That is a big undertaking, but she does a great job. And also, I had mentioned last meeting that Area Agency on Aging was offering farmers market coupons. I still have a couple here. If you need an application, I have them. You fill the application out and you would send it into Area Agency on Aging, which is right on the application. And you have to get that into them though before September 24th so they can process it. So you want to, if you want them, the coupons, excuse me, would be $24. And if it's a couple, then you're getting $48 worth of farmers market coupons. So that's a very nice savings for people. So you want to really make sure that you take care of this if you already haven't. And Historical Society, all the meetings are canceled until further notice. But if you would like maybe further information, you can go to veronahistory.org, and there's usually different information on there. But right now, no meetings until further notice. And I have information on ALOM. Did you want me to wait until you ask for that? Or
No, go ahead. That's all right.
Okay.
Why don't you do it now
Okay.
and it'll be done.
Okay, thank you, Pat. Under ALOM, I got notification that they're having their annual sporting clay shooting event. And that's going to be on Friday, September the 11th. And it's going to be held at Promised Land Sporting Clays. That address is 204 Spangler Road, and that's in Freeport, 16229. The cost for this clay shoot is $100, and it includes the clays, ammunition, and a golf cart. They'll also have a continental breakfast and a luncheon, and also refreshments right on the course. And if anyone is interested, you need to respond to ALOM by September 3rd. And in closing, I personally want to thank our road crew for the beautiful job they're doing with the flowers. We are most grateful. Thank you very much, guys. You're doing a super job. And that is my report, Mr. President.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. At this time, the other committees for councils of government and tax collectors, there's been no meetings with those. Have there?
There was a virtual Zoom meeting for the COG last month. There was not much to report back on that.
Okay. All right. All right. At this time, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I just forgot a couple things real quick. Also wanted to thank Rhea Homa and Dan Showalter. They've been helping out a lot with the farmers market as well, and Trish a little bit too. And also I wanted to let people know that on Mondays, starting around 12:30, that there is available a box of free vegetables being provided by the St. Paul's Baptist Church. And you just have to drive over there and say you're from Verona, and they'll give you a box of free vegetables. Now, I've been getting them, but I don't need free vegetables. So then I've been giving them to other people in town who can't get over there during that time so that they can get some free vegetables. So I just wanted to let people know about that who might need to go over there on Mondays at 12:30 to get some veggies. Thank you.
Okay.
Nancy, thank you for bringing that up. I also, and excuse me, President Pat, just one sentence. I forgot Trinity Lutheran Church on the corner of South and Allegheny River Boulevard has a window there. And if anyone needs food, please feel free to go over, just open the window and take what you need. They have it where it's open 7 days a week, as long as there's food there. When they get a little low, they just fill it up. So thank you.
Okay. All right. At this time, we'll hear comments from the public. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes and only one visit. Thank you.
First on the list is Tim Long.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Hi, this is Vince Floda, not Tim Long. 323 Penn Street also. I have some notes from last year at the end of the year that I took during one of the council meetings. I believe it was in either October or November. And in my notes, it said that during one of the high windstorms last fall that the movie screen might have sustained a little bit of damage. So it wasn't a big deal to Parks and Rec at the time because we have another screen that they use for cribs that hangs on the fence. So we figured that we would just swap those out. So that might help you guys decipher if the screen was broken or not last year, because I don't think I would have wrote down in my council notes that it was damaged if it wasn't. Also, I believe that, could somebody answer me a question if the repaving of the courts down at Riverbank Park was in the Parks and Rec budget last year? Because I believe we've been trying to get it on the budget for about 2 or 3 years now, and it got pushed back because we bought new rims and backboards for the park, so it might have got pushed back, but I believe that was slated to be done in the next couple years. The repaving has been mentioned many times. So I don't know if Jerry can answer this question or not. Did you put the repaving in this year's budget for Parks and Rec?
We reviewed the spreadsheet that was sent over by Parks and Rec, and the paving or the refinishing of the courts was not in the budget.
Okay. Thank you for your swift response. Also, the water fountain at Cribs this most recent time was in fact not vandalized. I was there at the park when it broke, And when we got there, it was working fine. And I witnessed somebody push the button and it basically exploded. So it wasn't vandalized. It was, I suspect it wasn't repaired properly last time, or it was repaired properly last time, but it's just so old that once you repair one thing, something else keeps breaking. And you know, it's like an old car. Once it gets past a certain age, you keep repairing stuff and something else breaks. But I just want to make sure the council knows that it was not vandalized. It was working at 9 a.m. and at 10:30, someone pushed the button and water started spraying everywhere. So that's all I have to say. I hope that helps you guys do your job a little better, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, next is either Trish or Danny. I don't know which one that is.
Hi, Jerry. It's Trish tonight.
Hey, Trish.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for.
Hi, Trish.
Hi. Thank you for all of your hard work on many important issues in the borough. One I was not aware of until
Trish,
tonight.
can you please state your address?
Oh, yes. Trish Redzak Showalter. I'm at 440 North Avenue.
Okay, thank you.
So one issue I was not aware of until tonight was the ordinance being considered on the feral cat problem. I wanted to voice my opinion that finding the well-intending people who are feeding the cat does not seem like the most logical solution to the problem. Number one is I think determined people will continue to feed the cats anyway, regardless of an ordinance that imposes a fine. But number two, I also think that this would definitely be better managed through a trap, neuter, and release program, as Dave Matlin suggested. Just during this meeting, I pulled up numerous studies on the web that actually do show data that the best way to humanely stabilize and reduce a feral cat problem is through the trap, neuter, and release program, and there are many programs in the area. So I'd be happy to forward that along if it's helpful, but I just wanted to put my opinion out there. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is Jessica Verone.
Hi, this is Jessica Verone, 722 Bruneau Street. So first of all, Mike, just want to say I'm very excited about the comprehensive plan, and hopefully the Verona Community Group can be involved in that. So just keep us posted. So that's great. And a couple more items. A couple of months ago, I asked if we could get an agenda in advance, or at least post it online. I still haven't seen that happen. I think at the meeting I'd asked if we could get the agenda the Friday before the meeting so that folks can know kind of what's coming. So just would ask council to keep striving towards that goal. And then also, with the ordinances, I know Nancy, you'd asked for people to comment, do the public comments on them, but I don't think people know a lot about the ordinances because I don't think you typically share them until they're ready to be voted on. So it's hard for the public to know anything about them except for what you guys are talking about. You said something about a rental ordinance, and I don't think anybody will be able to comment on that since you guys didn't really have a conversation about it. But regarding the cat population and feeding animals, I am a big proponent of the TNR programs. You do that, the cats are still going to need to eat. Sadly, they're domesticated animals. Ultimately, they're not going to be able to survive off of just the random rats that are roaming around. So I just would not support finding someone for trying to keep these animals alive. I think the woman that's doing this has, that Mark talked about, has very good intentions. Having some cat poop on your porch is not pleasant, but having a dead cat on your porch is probably much less pleasant. So that's all I have to say about that. So we'll look forward to seeing a revised ordinance at a future meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question for the solicitor before we move on. Craig, hold on, it's escaping. Is it okay if once we do our next revision, to share it with the public?
Absolutely. There's
Or
no.
do we have to wait until it's time to advertise it?
You are permitted. It's not something that you would be required to release under the Right to Know Act because it's not finalized, it's not in final form, but there's no prohibition that you can't voluntarily do that. So absolutely you can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Jerry?
Last one's Angelo Chapinti.
Hello?
Go ahead, Angela.
Hi, Angela Capini, 521 Center Avenue. Very briefly, I do want to thank council for continuing to water our baskets, and I also want to thank our streets crew for doing such a beautiful, absolutely beautiful job. And I stop and see them a couple times when they're watering, and I do thank them, and they're very, very much appreciated. But thank you for continuing to water. And on behalf of the newsletter, I just wanted to reinforce that we are all in agreement as far as if money is needed to continue with paying the borough workers their overtime, that the money is, we all agree that it can come out of the newsletter fund. And I just want to also say that we do have a nice surplus. Like Sylvia said, we have never touched the money, have never had to touch the money. We've always been self-sufficient. And last year we had a surplus. And this year, at the end of the month, I'll know pretty much where I'm at with our budget and how much we have left over. But I just want to also offer to Jerry and Ray to please reach out to me, because I have everything documented as to how much we take in and how much is left over. So I'd be happy to work with you on numbers so you can help to figure out how much we're going to need or what you need to take. Pretty much, we thought that whatever is needed, that that whatever is needed, we have basically. So, but please feel free to reach out to me. Like I said, I have all the number of the treasurer, so I have all the figures and all the numbers documented, and I'd be happy to work with you. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank
Very
you,
good, thank
Angela.
All right, that's
Okay.
it.
That's it. Need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll make the motion, Pat.
Mr. Provenza made the motion to adjourn. Second.
Second.
Second by
Second.
Albo. Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Are there any no's? No. Good night, everyone.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.